The Vampire Diaries Season 7 finale, Gods and Monsters. Now, with this actually going into the final season of the series with Season 8, I was actually pretty curious what they were going to be doing with it. Like, how was the next season really going to go? I didn't even really consider how the villain stuff would go. It was just like, how are they going to end the series? And going into this episode, I didn't know it was the finale because I was behind. So I didn't actually know that it was the finale because I watched the episodes online. So going into it, it seemed like it was a fairly normal episode, and I was like, all right, they're gonna try to figure out what they're gonna do with Bonnie. They had kind of like a full episode of her already sort of going nuts a little bit when she takes Rayna's place, and it's like, all right, so we have once again we're going back to the idea of getting rid of the last sort of eternal person in a coffin, and it's like, all right, well if we do that, it could get rid of the curse, which could work. It could be great, or it would kill Bonnie and, theoretically kill everybody else. Like, they could have done it where she did still die and they didn't die because it wasn't, like, an official mark or something like that. But it was interesting watching them go through, and it was actually pretty fun. I thought it was a good episode. I liked the way that everything kind of played out, and it was definitely a surprising ending where not only Damon got taken over, because as soon as, Elena's voice happened, I was like, crap, it's going to end where he's now taking over, and we still don't really know 100% exactly what's going on. And when we had the flashback early on this season, or I shouldn't say early on, it was only like a couple episodes ago, it seemed like it was a mental thing. Like, obviously there's some sort of spirit sort of deal, and it takes people over. But this episode actually showed us it's not just some sort of mental thing. It is an actual physical thing, because it's like this creepy thing. We only see like the little nails and stuff when it grabs Enzo at the end. So it's like we get the little kind of typical sort of super skinny gray weird monster fingers and stuff. But there is an actual physical creature, and I don't know if it it sort of infects people or implants them or something like that, but they kind of become I don't know if it's a hive mind sort of deal. I would assume it is, just because it's one main creature and it's taking over. Because I just assumed, okay, this sort of spirit thing takes over one person at a time. Because I thought they were honestly going to kill Enzo, because they did the scene where it was like he was close to dying, and then Damon saved everything there, and it was like, okay, so they did that, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna try to get my friend and get him out of here, and I was like, crap, they might actually kill him, which I'm so glad they didn't do that. And I won't spoil anything, but there's a very specific reason. I was like, I'm very glad that didn't just happen. But I was very freaked out. I'm like, they're gonna have it where this creature is taking over Damon, and the creature's gonna just get rid of Enzo, because I just was assuming it can only take over one person at a time, because during the flashback thing there were already a bunch of people, so maybe it just takes a lot of time for it to like get a hold of someone and take over them. But it's a physical creature, and then it takes over both Damon and Enzo, so they're kind of they're teamed up again, unfortunately as enemies to the rest of the characters. But they kind of skip quite a bit of time. Matt has decided to kind of officially get out of the life. Like, he realizes now he never really tried to leave. Like, it's not the life he wanted, but he always stuck around, and that's why he was always in it. So he's officially decided to leave. We have the scene of him getting in the truck. He actually has a cane because of the scene where he was trying to use the shotgun and it snapped and fell back on his leg. It actually messed his leg up permanently. Like, they show it for like a quick second, but he like threw a cane in when he got into the car. So I'm sure we'll still see Matt, because Matt he survives. He always lives. It was kind of funny. They had a line from Caroline where she's like, Damon's like a cockroach. Like, he always survives. I was like, that easily applies to Matt, like, for sure. And he's a human, so it certainly applies to him. But I just liked the way it all played out. It was very interesting watching the characters kind of have this sort of revolutionary change, between them. It's like Matt has decided to move on with his life, and like I said, of course it's Matt, so we'll still see him. I would assume he's not just going to be completely absent from the entire series now, but he's going to be in a different life. He's going to at least attempt to go somewhere else and be outside of it, so he won't be in Mystic Falls. And then we have Caroline, who's made her decision, and kind of Blarg made it for her, because he knew how things were. It was like, she doesn't really love me like I would want her to, and she still has feelings for Stefan, and so ultimately that all plays out and they end up back together, and Alaric goes off with his kids, and I'm sure we'll still see them. And they mentioned, I believe they say they only skipped like 3 weeks or something like that. Or they may have said like 3 months or something really crazy, but they skipped a bit of time. And I'm curious how much time they're going to skip between this season and the next season, if it's just going to continue and the bodies build up more and more. And there's like this grand mystery now because we have, they're not just randomly collecting people. Because the first thing I thought was, okay, this creature took over both of them. The first thing I thought was, oh, it's going to be like a crazy, like, supernatural army or something. And then it's like they capture this dude and it's like they hang him upside down, slit his throat, and then it's just like we got people hanging from the rafters, necks cut, and they're all bleeding on the ground. So I don't know if that's true or not, because I was instantly assuming, once again, from that flashback we had, I assumed all those people were human. So it doesn't really matter if it's like a vampire, which is someone who technically died, or this creature can only take over, dead bodies. But it was really weird. It was really crazy. I was like, okay, people are getting collected and then they get taken over. So it's like we already at least have 62 people missing, and they're all going to be taken over. And it's like, nope, they're just, they're knocking people out, cutting their throats, and then they hang them up in like this giant warehouse area. And that's it. So I'm very confused what that's about. So I'm very excited to see where that's going, because I instantly had my assumption and it was already like way off. Unless it's not, and it is like like the people do have to be dead for the creature to take over, and we do find out, from the people from the flashback were actually like vampires or something, or maybe they have to be supernatural in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but it seemed like they were just killing those people, so they'd just flat out be dead. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to the next season for sure. It's gonna be the last season, so that should be something. Um, I think what was interesting is that they kind of had no mention as to really what took place inside of the building. Everyone seemingly was just flat out dead. Like, everybody died. And, like, they go into the house, there's kind of no mention of whoever Enzo's cousin was. I don't even remember her name, honestly. But, it's kind of just like, they all died. They all, I would assume, killed each other. Or, this one creature at least didn't take over anyone. Maybe it realized, like, oh, I can't escape, so just wipe everyone out inside the house. But there was kind of no mention of that, like, oh, this is where her body is, because she was a fairly important role in this season. So she's gone, but we might get her sister, because that was like the big thing. Like, you can't let this creature escape. And we technically have the full story, but we won't, well, it's in the series. Enzo had it, but we never got to hear it, so we don't know exactly what this creature is. And I'm assuming she knew basically all the details, because he's like, tell me everything. It's pretty much what he said. So we got all the information and still nothing. So we still have like our little hints. I was going off of like, it's this weird spiritual sort of thing. I didn't think it had an actual body, but it was like an actual spirit that could take over bodies. And there's like, nope, it can take over people, but it is an actual physical creature, which I guess I should have known, because they had the thing where it's like, oh, someone ran behind me, stuff like that. But I was like, that could easily be like, sort of a weird thing where it's a manifestation, but it's still not actually there. It's just a visual thing. But it's an actual physical entity, and for some reason it needs people hanging from the rafters with their throat slit, because they could like just snap their necks if they needed to be dead. So I feel like there has to be a very specific reason for cutting their throats and leaving them open like that. But I did enjoy this finale. I'm excited to see where it goes, because it seems like we have Bonnie, Stefan, and Caroline. They're kind of this little trio trying to get Damon and Enzo back. And I'm sure we'll see Alaric and what's going on there. But I kind of like the way that it played out. Like I said, going into it, I didn't realize it was the finale. It started off fairly normal, I think. And then as it got closer to the end, it was kind of like, I think this might be the finale. My girlfriend asked me, and I was like, I don't think it is. I didn't really hear anything, but we were like 2 weeks behind. So we watched both the last 2 episodes today. But then it kind of went to the scene where, right after Stefan and Enzo, it was like, okay, I thought for sure that was going to be the end of the episode. And then it went to, everyone kind of talking about, basically talking to Elena and, writing the books and doing the narration. It was like, crap, this is going to be a weird next season, because everyone's kind of split up. And we have, 2 fairly powerful characters. I mean, out of the characters we have, 2 of the oldest vampires are now taken over by this crazy creature, which could have its own insane set of abilities, which it clearly does with the mind control stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. I thought this was a pretty fun finale. They mentioned Valerie, but we didn't see Valerie in this episode. So we might get her back in the next season. We might get Enzo's other cousin, the sister who is in like the psychiatric ward. We might get her out, and she might kind of help the team sort of solve this giant issue because somehow they escaped. That might be something that they actually show us in the next season, where it's like it took them weeks, to finally get in, and they get in there, it's like completely empty. No bodies, none of that stuff is just completely empty, and somehow they escaped. So there's got to be something to that because it's been trapped all this time, and maybe it's the fact that it took over two vampires who technically could just punch a wall and not, they heal up and they won't get tired. I would assume under the mind control stuff, it's like, oh, you're not tired, just keep destroying this wall, and they probably strolled right out. But it was kind of in the narration, they still couldn't tell how they escaped. So there's some sort of little mystery there as well. But I am excited for the next season for sure, especially with it being the final season. We had a little bit of Elena in this. It was voice only, and there are apparently a couple of articles. It was actually Nina Dobrev. She came back to do those little clips. It wasn't just like from other episodes, which is, I think, what everybody thought. It was like, oh, they just took that from old episodes and put it in there. But it was actually her doing original recordings for this specific episode. So I thought that was actually kind of cool. I was hoping we'd get to see her as an actual hallucination, but I guess the hallucination thing isn't exactly a part of it. Maybe it reads people's minds and it just mimics the voice, but it doesn't do actual visual, hallucinations. But I am excited for it, of course. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about this finale, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And, of course, going into the final season of the Vampire Diaries, I would love to know what you guys want to see, what characters you want to see come back, because I would assume they're going to kind of throw everybody in there, and there's still, a little bit of tie-in with the originals and stuff, because they still did they kind of mentioned this, I believe it was the episode before this one, with Caroline trying to figure out where Klaus was, and it's like, oh, he's gone and stuff. And we still haven't gotten to that point in the originals with this whole 3-year gap. It's like, what happened to him? Why did he take off? Where is he right now? So I would assume with this being the final season for the Vampire Diaries coming up, there's going to be a lot of crossover. We're going to get to see, if not, a lot of characters from the originals, we'll at least see every character, main character from the Vampire Diaries. Tyler will have to come back, because seemingly he was just like nothing. He was in like one episode recently, and that was maybe 4 episodes ago. I honestly think the last thing they showed of Tyler was that little tiny scene of him in the car, and that was early on in the season when they were still doing flash forwards. And after that, I don't think we even got to see him again. Maybe one other time, but he was kind of like nowhere in this season. He was all over the last season, especially with I don't remember her name at all, but the young witch, the female witch of the twins, he was with her, so they had a big scene, and he was like completely absent from this season. So we'll probably get him back next time to kind of help with the search. Oh, he was in a couple episodes of Damon. That's what it was when he came back, and Damon basically knocked him out, and then he was gone again. Like, he got knocked unconscious, and then he was poof. That was kind of it. But I definitely want to know what you guys want to see. What you guys are expecting from this creature. Like, why does it need people hanging upside down with their throat slit? How powerful do you guys think it's going to be? I mean, it's the final thing, so it has to be some crazy thing. They've already dealt with, like, 5 witch half vampire creatures and stuff already. So it's going to have to be something, like, crazy epic for this, the final season. But definitely want to know your expectations for what you guys want to see, what characters you want to see, whether it's from the Vampire Diaries, or if you want some more crossover with the originals next season. Definitely want to know that. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about the finale in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.